Welcome back, viewers. You're watching WION World is One. This is World DNA, the show that gets you ahead of the rest. I'm Shivan Chandna.
And I'm Hemkaur Saroya. And in the latest from West Asia, Israel has reiterated that any violation of a ceasefire agreement by Hezbollah will be met with fire. This after IDF spokesperson said that IDF troops are still positioned in southern Lebanon. We'll get you the latest on this on the show today.
Also on World DNA, in his latest pick for the Trump 2.0 administration, Donald Trump has nominated Keith Kellogg, who's a former national security advisor and retired lieutenant general in the US military. Now, he has been appointed or would be appointed as the special envoy to Ukraine and Russia in Trump 2.0. We'll bring you the latest updates on that front as well. This and a lot more lined up for you right here on World DNA. Let's start with that next.
Israel warns Hezbollah will respond forcefully if it violates ceasefire as Hezbollah claims victory over Israel after truce between the two sides takes effect.
US President-elect Donald Trump claims Mexico has agreed to stop migration effectively, closing the border between their countries after a conversation with the Mexican president.
Taiwan conducts air defense drills amid mounting Chinese pressure, deploys aircraft, ships and air defense missile systems.
International Criminal Court's chief prosecutor asks judges to grant an arrest warrant for Myanmar's junta chief Min Aung Hlaing over alleged crimes against humanity committed against the Rohingyas.
Heavy rains lashed India's southern state of Tamil Nadu before Cyclone Fengal's expected landfall. Flight services continue to be affected.
Ruud van Nistelrooy is set to be named the new Leicester City manager. The former Dutch striker was let go as an assistant coach by Manchester United earlier this month after serving as interim coach in the 4 matches.
Now, Israel has said that any violation of the ceasefire agreement by Hezbollah will be met with fire.
Well, IDF spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari has said that Israeli forces on Wednesday engaged with armed militants and killed them while enforcing the agreement. Hagari showed a map of the area in southern Lebanon where Israeli forces are still operating and called on the Lebanese residents not to return until informed.
The IDF is acting carefully. Any violation will be met with fire. IDF sources are still taking positions in southern Lebanon in villages and areas where there will be a gradual withdrawal according to the agreement. The Air Force planes are still hovering over the skies of Lebanon, gathering intelligence and ready to act as needed.
Israeli Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi said IDF forces will hit Hezbollah operatives who approach the troops, the border area and the villages within the area marked by the forces.
The activity in Lebanon was very determined and the enforcement of the agreement will be even more determined. With determination, according to the guidelines approved yesterday by the Minister of Defense, the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, Hezbollah operatives who will approach our troops, the border area and the villages within the area we have marked will be struck.
Meanwhile, tens of thousands of Lebanese displaced by the war between Israel and Hezbollah headed back to their devastated towns and villages as a ceasefire took hold. Under the terms of the deal that brought the war to a halt, the Lebanese military started reinforcing its presence in the country's south, where Hezbollah has long held sway.
On the other hand, in its first statement since a truce between the two sides took effect, Lebanese militant group Hezbollah said it has achieved victory over Israel. The Iran-backed group added that Hezbollah fighters will remain in total readiness to deal with the Israeli ambitions and its attacks.
In Gaza, an airstrike killed 9 people in the north as Israel kept up its bombardment. According to Gaza Health Ministry, the strike hit a shelter for displaced people in Al-Tabayin school in Gaza's city Daraj district.
The Israeli army said it eliminated a suspect in a May 2002 bombing which injured 10 civilians in the Israeli city of Beersheba. IDF said it also struck dozens of Hamas targets in the combat zone in the northern towns of Jabalia and Beit Lahiya. The army claimed during the operation that Hamas operatives fired anti-tank missiles from the Indonesian hospital at the troops.
Furthermore, relatives of hostages held for over a year in the Gaza Strip blocked the entrance to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's Knesset office on Wednesday, demanding that he meet with them and promote a hostage deal to free their loved ones.
U.S. National Security Advisor said President Joe Biden will launch a renewed drive for a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal. Jake Sullivan said Hamas is facing increased pressure to cut a deal now that Lebanon's Hezbollah group is no longer fighting in solidarity with the Palestinian militant group. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has nominated retired General Keith Kellogg as special envoy for Ukraine and Russia.
The staunch loyalist served in the national security roles in Trump's first administration. He is now charged with ending the war in Ukraine. Kellogg co-wrote an academic paper earlier this year calling for Washington to use military aid to Ukraine as leverage to push for peace talks.
And I think that combination is something very, very
He had said
special.
at the Republican convention in July that Ukraine's options are quite clear, and if it doesn't want to negotiate, it has to accept the fact that it can have enormous losses and have children killed as well. Trump's move to pick Kellogg comes amid a wave of escalation in view of Russia and North Korea's deepening military ties. Highlighting Pyongyang-Moscow ties, Ukrainian ambassador to the UN has once again called on members to continue their support of Ukraine, but the Russian deputy envoy has reiterated the Kremlin's position that every escalation from the West is going to be decisively responded to.
Meanwhile, the Russian Foreign Ministry has further warned against the idea that the West should give Ukraine nuclear weapons, calling the move insane and suicidal. The ministry's spokesperson has said that it is in the interests of responsible governments to ensure that such a scenario does not unfold.
Frankly speaking, there is no doubt that the collective West may well provide Ukraine with the opportunity to acquire nuclear weapons. Our opponents have repeatedly proven that no international treaties or obligations hold them back. I cannot tell you that we have any facts at this stage, but we believe that it is in the interests of truly responsible states to prevent such a development of events. The irresponsible actions of the Kiev regime and its Western curators may put the entire world on the brink of disaster, and I think that the world majority understands this perfectly well.
But Ukraine's NATO allies are not stepping back either. Baltic and Nordic nations, as well as Poland, are ready to step up sanctions against Russia. At a summit in Sweden, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, Latvia, Norway, Poland and Sweden have voiced their intent to expand on Russian sanctions.
And the German intel chief has warned that Russia's acts of sabotage against Western targets may eventually prompt NATO to invoke its Article 5 mutual defense clause. Under Article 5, if a NATO member comes under attack, the other members of the alliance are obliged to help it respond.
Russia, meanwhile, is seeking to step up relations with ally nations. Russian President Vladimir Putin has held a bilateral meeting with his Kazakhstan counterpart, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, in Astana. Putin told Tokayev that Russia sees Kazakhstan as its loyal friend, reliable and closest ally.
Now the question of press freedom has Russia and Germany butting heads.
Moscow has accused German authorities of shutting down a news channel and expelling 2 Russian journalists from their country.
Russia then decided for a tit-for-tat move. On Wednesday, Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson issued a statement that the country will be expelling 1 correspondent and 1 video journalist from the ARD, a German broadcasting television network. and said that the two journalists had been asked to submit their accreditation documents and leave Russia.
In accordance with the principles of freedom of the media, freedom of speech, on the basis of reciprocity, we will be ready to consider the possibility of accrediting new ARD employees in our country, but only after the German government has created conditions for the work of Russian journalists and the full resumption of the activities of the Channel 1 correspondent office in Berlin.
However, Germany has denied Russia's allegations, saying that they have not shut down the office of Russian broadcaster Pervy Channel. With respect to two journalists being expelled, Germany's foreign ministry spokesperson said that it was a state matter related to residency requirements and that there was no other motive.
Die russischen Behauptungen sind falsch.
The Russian allegations are false. The German government has not closed the channel's office. Russian journalists can report freely and unhindered in Germany. There are a whole series of Russian journalists who are accredited with the Federal Press Office.
Ever since Russia invaded Ukraine, the country's media outlets have faced broadcast bans, especially in Europe. Western countries have accused Russian-controlled media of spreading false information. In return, Moscow has responded with what it calls tit-for-tat measures.
US President-elect Donald Trump has claimed that Mexico has agreed to stop migration, effectively closing the southern border.
This statement came after Trump talked to Mexican President. However, Sheinbaum said that the pair had discussed migration strategy but made no reference to closing the border. This call came hours after Sheinbaum rebuked Trump's plan to impose a 25% tariff on Mexican imports. Our next report brings you more on this.
The diplomatic tug-of-war erupts as Mexico prepares to unleash economic retaliation against Donald Trump's trade assault. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum stands defiant, promising a swift and calculated response to Trump's proposed 25% import tariffs.
We are not only looking to the north, but also to the south and the European continent, but particularly to the south with our brother countries. So that's why I tell you that there is a Mexico plan.
Trump's proposed tariffs aimed at curbing migration and drug trafficking represent a dangerous escalation that could unravel the delicate economic fabric binding the two nations. Mexico, the United States' top trading partner, generating 15.8% of total bilateral trade, faces a potential economic problem that threatens to disrupt decades of integrated economic cooperation.
Now that President Trump is coming into power, things are going to change a little bit. But we hope everything stays the same.
We are very worried because the border cities have been losing a lot of competitiveness. The rhetoric by United States President-elect Donald Trump demonizes the US-Mexican border. We think there should be a joint effort. There should be more work between both governments, the United States and Mexico.
Trump's stance threatens to violate the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, a trade deal negotiated during his previous administration. With such steep tariffs, US companies importing Mexican goods would undoubtedly have to raise their prices. That could end up costing Trump politically, given the role consumer prices played in his election win.
So we have this market and then we have two restaurants as well, but we import a lot of our goods. I would say about 40% of what we sell and what we use in our dishes. So that tariff would really hurt us.
Things are already expensive in Los Angeles and they keep going up. But if the store owner is going to pay the tariffs and things will stay the same, it won't impact me.
Trump continues to double down on hardline immigration policies. He promises to declare a national emergency on border security and empower a new border czar to carry out mass deportations. Mexico, however, stands firm, preparing its own economic countermeasures. With trade, migration and ties hanging in the balance, the coming weeks may define relations between the US and its southern neighbor for years to come. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
And for more on this, the correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report from New York. Listen to this.
Donald Trump's latest tariff proposals aim to curb reliance on foreign goods and boost American manufacturing. But are they practical or just part of a political narrative? Well, in terms of feasibility, broad tariffs could trigger trade wars, disrupt global supply chains, and even violate international trade rules. The ripple effects aren't easy to manage. For consumers, tariffs usually mean higher prices on goods like electronics and groceries, fewer products options, and rising inflation that squeezes household budgets. Now, what does the U.S. gain or lose? Tariffs might protect specific industries and generate government revenue, but retaliatory tariffs could harm U.S. exporters, and businesses reliant on imports could face higher costs, leading to potential layoffs. Speaking of layoffs on jobs, tariffs might help some manufacturing sectors, but hurt others. Rising costs could lead to job cuts, particularly in industries that depend on global supply chains. Economically, they're tough to sustain without significant downsides. However, politically, they're a powerful message. Trump's tariff war positions him as tough on foreign competition, appealing to those voters who feel left behind by globalization, even if the long-term economic benefits remain uncertain. Ultimately, the real question, do the risks outweigh the rewards? Only time will tell. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
And several members of Donald Trump's incoming administration have received threats, including bomb alerts.
One nominee even reported a pipe bomb scare sent with a pro-Palestinian message. Now, the FBI said that it was aware of numerous bomb threats and swatting incidents. Swatting refers to a practice in which police are summoned urgently to someone's house under false pretenses.
Such hoax calls are common in the United States and have seen numerous senior political figures targeted in recent years. Trump's picks for UN ambassador and head of the Environmental Protection Agency, as well as his former choice to be US Attorney General, said that they were among those who had received these threats.
The White House said that outgoing President Joe Biden has been briefed on the threats. International authorities have seized 225 metric tons of cocaine in a 6-week mega drug bust.
This was launched across the New Pacific trafficking route from South America to Australia. And the Colombian Navy said that over 1,400 tons of drugs, including 225 tons of cocaine and 128 tons of marijuana, have been seized in its latest phase of the global naval Operation Orion. The drug bust saw over 400 drug traffickers arrested in the months of October and November in several oceans, ports, coasts and rivers across the globe.
According to the Colombian Navy, drug cartels lost cargo worth over $8.4 billion in the massive overhaul led by several international organizations. Furthermore, Navy officials also captured a semi-submersible vessel containing 5 tons of Colombian cocaine, which was en route to Australia.
It's the third one we have found. The first was discovered in Colombian waters, and thanks to the maps it carried, we identified the route. That's when we began working with Australian authorities. This is the third case of a semi-submersible on the Colombia-Australia route.
Reports suggest that the traffickers often use these boats to transfer drugs to the ships off the coast of Colombia. The new route has become increasingly profitable, with a kilogram of cocaine sold for up to $240,000 in Australia.
Today, these are networks of transnational organized crime working together. We see connections between Mexican cartels, criminal groups in Colombia, Ecuador, Peru and Brazil, as well as mafias from Belarus and criminal organizations in Europe and Oceania.
And a day after the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf called off the protests, Islamabad police registered 8 cases against the party leaders.
And of course, this included its founder Imran Khan and his wife Bushra Bibi. Others named include Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Chief Minister Ali Amin Gandapur, Attorney Salman Akram Raja. They were charged with terrorism, assault on police, abduction, interference in government operations and violation of prohibitory orders. Now, the cases were registered just hours after Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif called for tough decisions to rid the country of politics of agitation.
The do-or-die protests, which started on the 24th of November, saw clashes between law enforcers and PTI workers as they arrived at Islamabad's D Chowk, that's a high-security area which houses major government buildings, to demand the release of Khan, who has been behind bars for more than a year now.
8 of its workers have been killed, said the PTI, a claim refuted by Pakistan's Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi, who challenged the former ruling party to release the names of the deceased.
On the other hand, at least 5 security personnel, including 3 rangers, were killed, as per Islamabad's IG, Syed Ali Nasir Rizvi. He further said that over 12 to 13 forces vehicles were set on fire. Over 161 CCTV cameras were damaged during the protests.
Also, he informed that 954 people were arrested, of which 37 were Afghan nationals. Thereafter, the government announced that Afghan nationals will not be allowed to stay in Islamabad after the 31st of December. Afghan nationals who intend to stay in the capital post that will have to obtain a no objection certificate from the Deputy Commissioner's office.
All right, time now for a short break.
But of course, before we come back and we slip into this short break, let's take a quick look at a few climatic events making headlines from around the world. We slip into a short break after that. Come right back. This is World DNA. We will meet you after this.
I think this Beyond Business Masters is a actually great show for 2 reasons. One, usually we are able to not talk about what goes on in the background of the companies as they were built over the last 10-15 years. And secondly, a lot of people at some point in their life maybe thinking about whether they want to be in a job or they want to start their own companies. And it just gives them a perspective of some of the challenges that they may see as they take the decision.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the US.
And I will be here at the WION headquarters, getting you all the action from the universe of sport. All that you need to know about your favorite teams and players, right here.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of.
A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA.
Join the conversation.
Know more, understand better, think ahead. Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Get the facts, not the bombast. On the 26th of March, dynamic pricing, Baloch separatists, Gravitas cuts out the clutter. Gravitas keeps calm when others scream. Gravitas brings news to life. Weekdays, 9 p.m. IST, 3:30 p.m. GMT. Gravitas. Seeing is believing.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
I think this Beyond Business Masters is a actually great show for two reasons. One, usually we are able to not talk about what goes on in the background of the companies as they were built over the last 10-15 years. And secondly, a lot of people at some point in their life, maybe thinking about whether they want to be in a job or they want to start their own companies. And it just gives them perspective of some of the challenges that they may see as they take the decision.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
Welcome back to World DNA. Thank you so much for staying with us. Lots lined up for you on this side of the show. Let's get started with the headlines first.
Heavy rains lash India's southern state of Tamil Nadu before cyclone Bengal's expected landfall. Flight services continue to be affected.
International Criminal Court's chief prosecutor asked judges to grant an arrest warrant for Myanmar's junta chief Min Aung Hlaing over alleged crimes against humanity committed against Rohingyas.
US President-elect Donald Trump claims Mexico has agreed to stop migration effectively, closing the border between their countries. Mexican president denies the claim.
Israel warns Hezbollah will respond forcefully if it violates ceasefire, as Hezbollah claims victory over Israel after truce between the two sides takes effect.
US urges its mission personnel to avoid a hotel in Peshawar till the 16th of December. Advisory issued amid rise in violence and political turmoil in the country.
Just a day ahead of the crucial ICC meeting for the 2025 Champions Trophy, PCB chairman Mohsin Naqvi remains adamant that India should travel to Pakistan despite political unrest and worsening security situation.
Ruud van Nistelrooy is set to be named new Leicester City manager. The former Dutch striker was let go as an assistant coach by Manchester United earlier this month after serving as interim coach in the 4 matches. Bangladesh is on the boil amid the unrest over the arrest of former ISKCON priest Chinmoy Krishnadas. Police have arrested 6 people in connection with the murder of a lawyer during the clashes between protesters and security forces.
A Hindu temple was allegedly targeted by a mob in the port city of Chittagong. The arrest of Chinmoy Krishnadas has triggered protests across Bangladesh. The Hindu community has been calling for his release and justice for Hindus who face persecution since the ouster of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Protesters have been clashing with security forces in Chittagong. The violent clashes led to one death and left several injured.
Amid the raging protests, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, Bangladesh, has issued a statement denouncing the arrest of the former priest. It has called upon the government authorities to promote peaceful coexistence of the Hindus along with the community, which is the majority in Bangladesh. In its statement, ISKCON has said, and I quote here, Chinmoy Krishnadas and the Sanatani community deserve justice as citizens of this country, and we stress that any form of discrimination against them must not be tolerated, quote unquote. It further goes on to say that it is essential to uphold free speech. A petition has been filed in Bangladesh High Court seeking a ban on ISKCON. In response to the plea, the Bangladesh government has called ISKCON a religious fundamentalist organization, quote unquote.
ISKCON is commonly referred to as the Hare Krishna movement. Founded in New York City in 1966, ISKCON's main headquarters are in Mayapur in the Indian state of West Bengal.
Now, it claims approximately 1 million members globally. It has over 650 temples and centers of Vedic value education across six continents of the world. Bangladesh has at least 17 ISKCON temples, and ISKCON's food relief program, Hare Krishna Food for Life claims to have provided 150 million free meals in 14 months as part of its COVID relief work in India in 2021. Now, the arrest of the Hindu leader has soared tensions between India and Bangladesh. It's not just this arrest, also the atrocities against Hindus which are taking place in Bangladesh have made headlines across the world. India has issued a statement expressing deep concern over the arrest. It has asked Bangladesh to ensure the safety of Hindus and all minorities.
The targeting of Hindus and arrest of religious leaders show that fundamentalists are dominating the Bangladesh interim government, like in the case of Pakistan. The caretaker Prime Minister of Bangladesh is in the clutches of fundamentalists. The way Hindus are being attacked is against humanity. United Nations should intervene in this matter.
Bangladesh, on the other hand, has responded, expressing what it called its utter dismay at the arrest being misconstrued by certain quarters, quote unquote. Now, Chinmoy Krishnadas, who was earlier associated with ISKCON, was arrested at Dhaka International Airport on Monday in connection with a sedition case registered last month. Das he has been accused in the past of disrespecting the Bangladeshi flag during a rally in Chittagong city in October. The 39-year-old has emerged as the biggest Hindu leader in Bangladesh 4 months after the fall of Sheikh Hasina's regime.
And French far-right leader Marine Le Pen will learn in March whether she will be declared ineligible for elections or not.
A Paris court on Wednesday concluded trial on whether she embezzled funds from the European Parliament. Now, the National Rally leader arrived in court on Wednesday for the high-stakes trial. The prosecutors have demanded a 2-year prison sentence and 5-year period of ineligibility to run for office.
Le Pen and 25 National Rally Party officials stand accused of misappropriating funds meant for European Union Parliament aids. The money was allegedly used by the party to pay staffers instead, thus violating the 27 nation bloc's regulations. As per the prosecutors, the funds were embezzled during a 12-year period between 2004 and 2016. Le Pen and others accused have denied any wrongdoing.
Voilà, il y a zéro conséquence politique au fait d'attendre.
There is zero political consequence with waiting for the results of a verdict. Here and there I've read analysis saying that the political choices I have to take as the president of the group in the National Assembly would be affected by this wait. So let me reassure you right away that this is completely false. I will do what I need to do to defend the French people, and this trial will not be a factor to consider. I've said that this is a trial made by politicians for policies or even for politics. I think this has been put to light clearly.
Should the court find Le Pen guilty and bar her from holding office, the verdict could derail the National Rally leader's plans to contest for presidential elections. Presidential polls are due to be held in 2027. With the onset of winters, South Korea's capital experienced its season's first snowfall, and it soon became the heaviest snow to blanket Seoul since records began over a century ago. Here's a report, take a look.
After enjoying seasonably warm temperature, Seoul witnessed its first snowfall of the season. As residents woke up, a storm had blanketed the city. The heaviest snowfall in Seoul since records began in 1907.
Just last week, I felt that the November autumn was a bit warm, but in just 1 week, it feels like it's turned into a winter wonderland, which was quite a contrast. So I came out onto the streets today to enjoy the first snowfall of this winter.
The Korea Meteorological Administration said that 16.5 centimeters of snow fell by 7 a.m. local time on Wednesday. as compared to Seoul's previous record of 12.4 centimeters on 20th November 1972. It added that cooler air moving in from the northwest turned rain into snow overnight, leaving 18 centimeters on the ground by 3 p.m. local time. A heavy snow warning urged residents to refrain from operating vehicles and engaging in outdoor activities, and to beware of falling trees. Due to the snowstorm, at least 220 flights were grounded, while authorities ordered about 90 ferries to remain at port. Multiple hiking trails were also shut down. The snowstorm led to multiple accidents due to vehicles sliding on icy roads. Fallen trees caused power outages, affecting more than 150 households around Seoul.
I'm happy to see the first snow of the season, and it's snowing a lot, but I think the extreme weather is quite serious. It seems like environmental pollution has contributed to this, and as a South Korean citizen, I want to help reduce environmental pollution, but I feel like I haven't been able to do much about it yet.
As snow brought nuisance to some, others were rejoiced by the change in weather conditions.
I've just come out of the subway, and seeing Bukhansan in the background with snow and everywhere in the city is really beautiful. This really signals the start of a beautiful Christmas season, and it makes people really happy.
South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol called on officials to minimize potential damage and public inconvenience caused by the snow, as the heavy snowfall is expected to continue until Thursday morning. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
As the holiday season kicks in, the Thanksgiving rush neared its full stride at US airports.
Putting travelers' patience to the test, holiday travel was in full swing as people across US boarded flights ahead of Thanksgiving festivities. The Transportation Security Administration was expected to screen 2.5 million people on Wednesday. A long line was seen at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport on Wednesday, a day prior to Thanksgiving.
Long lines were also visible at LaGuardia Airport in New York, Pittsburgh International Airport and Cleveland Airport. Thanksgiving is known to be the most busiest travel time of the year, and festive rush was seen on the roads as well. These visuals show heavy traffic along a freeway in Chicago. As per the American Automobile Association, 79.9 million travelers will head 80.5 kilometers or more from home over the Thanksgiving holiday travel period.
Embracing the Thanksgiving spirit, NASA astronauts Sunita Williams, Butch Wilmore, Don Petit, Nick Hay shared a heartfelt message. Alongside their message, they offered a glimpse of their festive space meal, which will feature vacuum-packed smoked turkey, Brussels sprouts and butternut squash.
Apples and spice. Smoked turkey. And smoked turkey.
Greetings from the International Space Station. Our crew up here just wanted to say Happy Thanksgiving to all our friends and family who are down on Earth and everyone who is supporting us.
And Volkswagen has announced its decision to exit China's Xinjiang region by selling all operations to Shanghai Motor Vehicle Inspection Certification. That's a state-owned unit.
Well, this move comes after years of mounting pressure from rights groups which have raised concerns over alleged human rights abuses against the Uyghur population in the region. The Xinjiang facility, once capable of producing 50,000 units annually, had not manufactured any vehicles since 2019. The sale, for which financial details remain undisclosed, includes test tracks in Xinjiang and Shanghai, with all employees transitioning to the new owner. Volkswagen maintains that the decision was driven by economic reasons, not political pressure.
At the same time, Volkswagen has extended its partnership with Chinese automaker by a decade, securing their collaborations until 2040. This strategic shift highlights Volkswagen's focus on the Chinese market, where the company plans to release 80 new models by 2030, including electric and hybrid vehicle tailored to local consumers. The partnership will also introduce 2 extended range electric models by 2026 And this move comes as Volkswagen faces declining sales in China, its largest market, amid stiff competition and a sluggish economy. The decision to exit Xinjiang removes a major reputational concern for Volkswagen, alleviating tensions with investors and global stakeholders, including Deka Investment, which welcomed the move.
As Europe's car makers grapple with the impact of potential trade conflicts between the EU and China over electric vehicle tariffs, Volkswagen is doubling down on its electric vehicle strategy. By 2030, the company aims to offer over 30 electric and hybrid models in China, working with partners like Xpeng to develop cutting-edge solutions. Volkswagen's shares saw a modest decline of 0.5%, reflecting Germany's broader market trends. Well, the price of Arabica coffee has surged to its highest level since 1977.
And this marks a new milestone in the ongoing rally, surpassing a nearly 30-year high earlier this week.
The all-time record for Arabica was set in 1977. The primary driver is Brazil's record-breaking drought, which has significantly impacted its coffee crop. The world's largest, this season's yield is estimated to be 26% smaller than last year. Vietnam, the leading producer of the cheaper Robusta bean, also faced weather-related challenges. A lack of rainfall during the growing season cut output by nearly half in some regions.
Beyond weather conditions, geopolitical and logistical challenges are adding pressure to coffee prices. Disruptions to shipping in the Red Sea, potential US tariffs and future European Union deforestation regulations have further complicated the global coffee supply chain. Despite recent rain in Brazil sparking optimism with an excellent flowering for the next cycle, farmers remain cautious, selling only what is necessary. This strategy is limiting local supplies and fueling price spikes in global markets.
The rising coffee prices are straining consumers and the industry alike. At home, coffee sales, which surged during the pandemic, have dipped by over 1% this year as budget-conscious shoppers cut back and companies are adapting in different ways. Nestle has raised prices twice since 2022, with more hikes expected.
Starbucks initially opted for promotions but is now increasing prices. On the other hand, more affordable brands have seen sales surge as consumers seek cheaper alternatives as prices climb. The global coffee market faces a delicate balance between managing costs and sustaining demand. All right, on to developments now from the world of technology. Let's get you the latest that's happening. TikTok is introducing new restrictions on beauty filters for users under 18 to address growing worries about their impact on mental health. In the coming weeks, teens will no longer be able to use filters that enlarge eyes, plump lips, or alter skin tone. These changes target filters like Bold Glamour, which alter facial features in ways makeup cannot replicate. However, filters with playful effects such as bunny ears, dog nose won't be affected.
TikTok, which boasts over 1 billion users, is responding to widespread concerns that beauty filters, whether provided by TikTok or created by other users, are pressuring teens, especially girls, to strive for unrealistic beauty standards. Additionally, the platform has revealed that thousands of British children may be kicked off TikTok as it strengthens its policies to ban users under the age of 13. The actions follow the Online Safety Act's impending stricter restrictions of underage social media use in the UK in the next year. According to data from the Indian Cybercrime Coordination Centre, India has reported $1.3 million in cyber fraud losses during the first 9 months of this year. Stock trading scams led the pack, causing nearly $550,000 in losses. Investment scams followed, with victims losing $380,000. Meanwhile, digital arrest frauds where scammers pose as authorities accounted for $191,000 in losses. The Citizen Financial Cyber Fraud Reporting and Management System revealed that nearly 1.2 million cyber fraud complaints were filed this year itself. Notably, 45% of these complaints came from Southeast Asian countries like Cambodia, Myanmar and Laos.
The UK government plans to review its electric vehicle mandates after warnings from car makers about potential factory closures and job losses. The current rules introduced by the previous Conservative government require automakers to increase EV sales annually or face penalties. These mandates are part of the UK's broader effort to reach net zero emissions. However, with consumer demand for EVs lagging, the industry has raised alarm, urging immediate government action to protect jobs and maintain the UK's status as a manufacturing hub. Finance Minister Rachel Reeves has confirmed that a consultation is underway to reassess the inherited policy framework.
And in sports, Liverpool stayed perfect in the Champions League with a statement 2-0 victory over reigning champions Real Madrid.
This win makes the Red favourites against Manchester City in the top-of-the-table clash in the English Premier League on Sunday. Real Madrid have been Liverpool's Achilles heel in Europe and have got the better of them in 4 of the 7 previous seasons.